Hello everyone and welcome to round 11 of the 2022 FIDE Candidates Tournament, where amazing things are happening. It is Alireza Firouzja versus Nepomniachtchi, and if you guys forgot or haven't even seen the standings, you can Nepomniachtchi is leading the FIDE Candidates Tournament with 7 points out of 10, which is just amazing, and Alireza currently in last place with 4 out of 10 points. But if he beats Jan here, then he will, well, not only improve his own standings, but he will give chances for players like Corona, Nakamura, and the Ding to catch up to Nepo, because there are still 4 more games to be played in the FIDE Candidates Tournament. It's not like it's already over. But even though it's an incredibly intense moment in the FIDE Candidates Tournament, everyone is basically just talking about how Alireza played 250 bullet games yesterday evening instead of just resting and preparing for his game against Jan. So how will this work out for him? Let's check it out and see. So Alireza with the white pieces opens with e4. We have pawn to e5, knight to f3, and knight to f6. Again, Jan goes for the Petrov defense, and so far no one was able to even make a tiny dent in the armor that is the Petrov defense Jan is wearing. Fabi made some progress, but it was nowhere near getting anything serious, and in the end, even though Fabi surprised Nepo was the one who was okay with time. Fabi was the one in time control. So it's very interesting to see what Alireza has prepared. Knight captures on e5, d6, knight to f3, and knight captures on e4. So nothing out of the ordinary here, and here the standard ideas are d4 and knight to c3, and this is something that you will see very often, even in a World Chess Championship match, for example, between Magnus and Caruana. But here we have c4 by Alireza, and this is the 5th most popular reply by White here, and it is it is somewhat rare, but not completely rare. Even Nepo played this move with the white piece against Wang Hao in 2016 and won a very nice game. It was a blitz game, so not maybe candidates worthy, but Alireza prepared it, and let's see what comes next. Knight to c6 by Nepo, d3 chasing away the knight, knight f6, and now pawn to d4. So wasting time a little bit here, but grabbing more space and controlling a lot of squares here, and even d5 might be coming. And if you were worried about this, you would just play d5, but Nepo says nope, you are free to push some pawns here if you want. So bishop to e7, d5 by Alireza, knight to e5, and here we have knight to d4. And knight to d4 is a new move, so already as of move 9 we have a completely new game. Instead of knight to e4, there is a game from the FIDE Women's World Cup last year where Alexandra Kostanuk played bishop to e2 and she defeated Tan Zhongyi, but like I said, knight to d4 is a new move, so already as of move 9 completely new game. Let's see how Jan deals with this position, as probably he is the world's top authority on the Petrov defense. We have castles by that's not a castle, sorry, castles by Nepo, knight to c3, and bishop to g4. Now attacking Alireza's queen, we have f3, chasing away the bishop, and also controlling some squares here, so the knight won't be able to just jump around. Bishop back to d7, and now bishop to e2, and here c6, attacking Alireza's strong center. His king is still in the center of the board, so it makes sense to open up the position. So Alireza castles, c captures on d5, c captures, and queen to b6 now. Hindering the development of the dark square bishop, but also just putting pressure on the d4 knight here. Although you want to play something like f4, if you play this, even moves like rook f to e8 are possible, because of this pin, you don't really care about captures. After captures, you will win back your piece. So it's a funny position. The king definitely does not belong on g1. Alireza moves it. He plays king to h1, and now rook 8 to c8. Nepo just continues development, and now comes the move that everyone was just like, wow. What a move, because everyone was expecting f4. You played king to h1, of course you want to play f4 and kick away Nepo's knight from this beautiful e5 square, but instead of f4, Alireza plays pawn to g4, and this is just spectacular. How can this be? We have h6. Nepo says, okay, what do you do here? Just a second, I think Medo wants to come in the room. Yeah, it was definitely him. Where were we? Oh yeah, So h6, and this is a very, very annoying move when someone plays against you. You know, you play f3, you play g4, you want to play h4, you just, you want to attack, and they play h6, and how are you continuing this attack? Now, g5 doesn't really make all that much sense. But Alireza, stops here, thinks a little bit about the position, and plays h4, because here there really isn't a move that can be considered good. It's just a better position for Jan objectively, but still, you can play it. It's not a lost position for Alireza. He's just, opened up his king maybe a bit too much. And the situation on the clock is 44 minutes for Alireza and an hour and 20 minutes for Jan. So even though Alireza is the one who surprised Jan with the opening, again, Jan is up on time, as usual in pretty much every game. So rook f to e8, making some room for the king here. Also bishop to f8 can be played to help out with the defense of the king if needed, and Alireza continues attacking g5. And already a very, very rich position where you could actually play a whole lot of things. Jan went for the straightforward h captures on g5, but just to show you how fun the position is, you can even play knight to g6. And now after the knight is captured, for example, g captures on f6 and bishop captures, it's almost impossible to hold this with white. You're down a piece, but you're attacking the knight here. Once the knight moves, you're going to play queen d8. This is the move you have to find. And now white's just going to get checkmated. Not a lot you can do here. Knight e4, you're going to make room for the queen. Queen captures. This is coming. If you defend it queen e1, then rook to c2, and it's just not possible to hold this with white. So this is in the position, but Jan went for the straightforward h captures and g5. H captures, and now knight to h5, putting pressure on that g3 square. So king to g2 by Alireza. Now the situation on the clock, 36 minutes for Alireza and an hour and 20 minutes for Nepo. He pretty much spent no time here, and the position is winning for Nepo. And there's even a moment of this situation that is here. There you have it. This is the when Alireza played king to g2. Jan just put himself a nice cup of coffee. I imagine it's coffee, could be anything else really, and just gave Alireza, the stare, and which means that he's ready to calculate this out, and that he knows Alireza is dead lost. It's only a matter of calculating precisely. And he finds it. And of course, the move is knight to g6. I don't want to ask you to pause and find it, because I'm sure you guys will find this one. I have a better one for you. But yeah, knight to g6, because we want to take care of the f4 square. And now if you put a knight on f4, it's basically game over. So Alireza has to play f4, which is fine. That's exactly the move he wants to play. And he plays it, but now knight h captures on f4. Jan sacrifices the knight. And what can Alireza do here? Well, capturing with the bishop is the only move. You could also capture with the rook, but it's not much better. So bishop captures on f4. Now queen captures on b2, attacking the knight. Now the knight is attacked twice, and also putting pressure on this bishop. The king is also on the second rank. And Alireza plays knight to e4. And here is the position that, well, everyone was so amazed with. Everyone thought that Jan was just going to play it. Everyone thought that Jan saw the solution even before playing that knight to g6 move, but that's actually not true. Something completely different happened. But you guys are, in your homes, comfortable, maybe on your phones somewhere. But if you can spare the time, feel free to pause the video and try to find this incredible idea Jan missed while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this incredible move. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is bishop to d8. That's the move. And, it's one thing to find the move with the knight back, but finding a move with the bishop back, that's just something on a whole different level, because now white doesn't really have a move. It seems like you have many great moves. You could capture on d6, attack both of the rooks. You could play queen to d2, offer a queen trade. But none of it really works. If you play queen d2, we simply trade queens, queen captures, knight captures, and now we eliminated this guy with check. Rook captures, and now bishop captures on g5. Attacking the rook, you can't move the rook because the knight hangs, and this is resigns. You could try giving up the exchange, but it's really not all that impressive. Captures, rook e5. Goes after the pawn. You can see that, white does have two knights for the rook, but black is up 3 pawns. You're gonna win more pawns here, and it's just gonna be impossible to hold this. So that's one way to play it. And the other way, instead of trading queens, if you just go for the straightforward knight captures on d6, then the point is we go for rook captures on e2. And now after knight captures on e2, we bring the other rook into the attack. Rook to c2, attack the knight can't move. Also knight captures on f4 is always a threat, and if you defend the knight, and there's really not all that much you can do, knight captures on f4 with check, and just everything falls apart. If knight captures, we capture here, and now you are very, very close to being checkmate. It's actually a mate in 5 from here. So that was the way to do it. Bishop to d8, a very, very sneaky backwards move that Nepo missed. He played rook to c4, which is also a nice practical move, but you know, if Jan spent actually some time here, he would have found bishop to d8, but Jan just plays instantly here, you know, even though it's a candidates tournament. Amazing stuff. So bishop back to e3, you want to get the bishop away from f4 and also defend your knight, but now comes bishop captures on g5. And here Alireza finds rook to b1. It is the only move that allows him to even continue the game. The situation on the clock, 20 minutes for Alireza, 55 minutes for Nepo. Queen captures on a2, rook to a1, and now Alireza is hoping for a nice repetition here. If queen b1, if queen b2, rook b1, queen to a2, rook to a1, and so on. But Nepo plays rook captures on d4. There's even a nicer try here that's really awesome. Bishop captures on e3 comes with a queen offering, but it would be impossible for white to survive this. For example, rook captures on a2. Now you play rook captures on d4, and white doesn't have a good move. You either move the queen, and then we're gonna win another piece, or you give up. You know, you move the knight, or you try to give up the queen at least to grab the rook or something. But basically, trying to save the queen, allowing rook captures on e4, the white king will not survive here amidst all of the pieces. So that's one way to do it. Jan does not sacrifice the queen. He plays rook captures on d4, offers a queen trade basically. Rook captures on a2, and now again bishop captures on e3 is possible, but Jan just goes for the straightforward rook captures on d1. Bishop captures on d1, and now bishop captures on e3. We have knight captures on d6 attacking the rook, and now rook to e7. The only move that allows Jan to sort of play for the win, because you have to guard the f7 square. So rook to e7, and now you have to play it with engine precision if you want to survive this. And the way to do that is to play rook to e2 and prepare rook to e1. That's the point, because if we move the bishop and the rooks get traded off, then again f7 falls and Alireza gets his draw. But here, for example, f6, king to f3, putting pressure on the bishop, knight to h4 check, king to g3, now g5. It would be something like this. Incredibly difficult to play with white, because you really don't have all that many moves. But it was the only choice. If you capture on f6, doesn't matter. King g7, rook's going to go back. We're going to play b5, start pushing the two pass pawns on the queen side. And with the king being so vulnerable on g3, it's hard to imagine you can survive this in a practical game. But okay, Alireza played bishop to b3, and now it's just instant resigns. Without this pressure on the bishop here, there's just nothing to play for. So Jan moves it, bishop to c5, attacks the knight here, knight captures on b7, and bishop to b6. We have bishop to c4, Alireza trying to activate the bishop a little bit, because he's also incredibly low on time. He has some 3 minutes on the clock, whereas Jan has like 40 minutes. Rook to e3 now, making the squares that the white king can use fewer and fewer. King to h1, and now comes bishop to h3, attacking the rook here, rook to c1, and now bishop to f5, preparing bishop to e4 check, and there's no good way to defend this. Bishop to f1, bishop to e4 check. And it was in this position on move 35 that Alireza Firouzja resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. If you block with the bishop, then rook to h3 is checkmate. There's no way to avoid this. The bishop pair is just incredible here. And if you don't, well, there's not all that much you can play. If you play king g1, you go under the mask of the bishop, then all sorts of nasty discoveries are possible. Jan just gobbles up whatever he wants. And if king to h2, which is your only other option, then just bishop captures on d5, attacks the knight, attacks the rook. Here you're gonna suffer heavy material loss. This is resigns. So yeah, bishop to e4, Alireza resigns, and another brilliant victory for Jan Nepomniachtchi in the FIDE Candidates Tournament 2022. And now it's gonna be very, very difficult to catch Jan. He would have to, mess up his last 3 rounds, to great extent to even allow others to, catch up to him, which is not impossible. But if he continues playing the way he played the first 10 games, then I think he has nothing to worry about. But yeah, crazy stuff from Alireza. Had a perfectly normal position, and instead of going for f4, something that you would expect, then maybe b3, the fianchettoing the bishop, putting the bishop on a long diagonal, he goes for g4, and Jan just Jan basically destroys him. It was if Jan didn't find this incredible knight to g6 move, just preparing the knight sacrifice after Alireza plays f4, then Alireza has a game, and it could go either way. But after knight to g6, this is just resigns for Alireza basically, and as it usually is, it's always a move with the knight back. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tough break for Alireza, but an incredible, increase in leadership for Jan Nepomniachtchi. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna cover other games from round 11 as well, and then we're gonna discuss the standings. I would like to wish a very happy birthday to Nashi, and I would like to thank Clever Piggy, Odin Terdi Forever, Michael Hope Consulting, and Alan Chevalier Moore for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the candidates until it finishes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.